Reddit post: girlfriend and I started a business together. She now wants 50% ownership, though I finance the company and do a lot of the heavy lifting. Should I consider a counter? Now it says here, it's a question that's being asked by this Reddit poster. My girlfriend and I recently started a drink business and participate at local fairs, serving patrons who partake. I've been responsible for buying supplies, prepping the ingredients for the drinks, renting transportation, driving to events, brand design, holding inventory, etc. Early on, she was a key figure in getting us our first slew of gigs, getting a commissary, handles our social media, and at the events, she serves the drinks while I collect the money. Lately, she's taken a step back on everything outside of serving at the events. Accounting, packing, and prep work, contracts, they all fall on me. She's basing everything on the very inception versus the current. As of late, she now is demanding not just a piece, but half of the company due to her early contributions and coming up with the idea or starting the business. From my point of view, there really isn't any value in the company as we just started a few months ago. The company obviously isn't profitable in this short span of time, and I myself haven't made a dime. She sees ownership as a way to protect herself. How? I'm not really sure. I honestly started this more so as a low pressure side business and a way to spend time and have fun with her. I also didn't expect for this question to spring up so early in the business. In the beginning, she agreed to just help out and didn't want nor care for ownership. The company just started and is a little far off from turning a profit. It's a two-man business at the very least. So with that in mind, she's using that as leverage on leaving me high and dry. Given all this information, I was just wondering what would be the ideal solution. Well, it's a very good question. Now, you guys know me, I'm always going to ask for more information. But based on the information that is provided, let me dissect this just a little bit. Now, number one, my girlfriend and I recently started a drink business and participate at local fairs serving patrons who partake. I think this is a great idea. I think this is an excellent idea. And actually, with that being said, there's a link in the description for a drink that has sponsored Squirrel Tribe. And their drinks are really, really good. So go check them out. For anybody who's interested in starting a business on the side, if you can find your niche in this space, especially with food and beverage, there's always going to be a local fair or an event or something like that where there's going to be people who are thirsty. Now, it says that I've been responsible for buying supplies, prepping the ingredients for the drinks, renting transportation, driving to the events, brand design, holding inventory, etc. Now, these are all tasks assigned to business owners. If you are interested in going out and beginning to build your own business, side hustle, ultimately driving towards generating passive income, these are going to be some of the many responsibilities that will fall on the shoulders of the business owner unless you already have this in place from maybe some other form of business that you can easily transition over to carry some of this weight, or you have a large sum of money that you're willing to invest into this business to get it started by outsourcing and hiring folks to do this work for you. Early on, she was a key figure in getting us our first slew of gigs, getting a commissary, handles our social media, and at the events, she serves the drinks while I collect the money. Well, again, folks, a business isn't really a business unless it produces revenue. And beyond that revenue, you want to make sure you're making profit. That's number one, because as we see today with the changes that are going on in the economy and the businesses that are making changes to their employment levels and laying folks off, possibly going into bankruptcy, the main reason behind that is because their businesses are not producing profit. Getting a commissary, handles our social media. You know, getting accounts, folks, please brand Advertise, 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 market, market, market. You have to be promoting yourself and letting people know of who you are, what you do, what you're capable of, and how they can find you if you want to make money. Handling social media is a huge component right now, because that is pretty much where marketing and advertising is going to go, or has already gone, and is the simplest and easiest way to gain a huge amount of exposure to your business and your brand and your products that you sell to make money, that can be done at literally zero cost. I actually have a pretty cool case study that we're actually in the middle of right now, where a business has implemented the strategies that we have proposed to them to bring in increased sales. And literally, not even overnight, within a few minutes, hours, they automatically saw a huge spike in their business. More on that later. At the event, she serves the drinks while I collect the money. Folks, go get that money. Number one, always make sure you have a simple and easy way of processing transactions. That's the last thing you want to be complicated and complex, and ultimately have people ditching carts, leaving carts stranded if you're online carts, or, you know, just turning them away from being able to pay. Huge no-no. Accounting, packing, and prep work contracts all fall on me. She's basing everything on the very inception versus the current. Look, folks, business owners, you wear many hats. I'm just going to put it out there like that. A business as complex as this, even though it may not seem extremely complex, is relatively complex. Me, personally, I like simplicity. So my business literally revolves around this computer, my phone, this camera, the internet. I like simplicity. I also like the ability to move and travel. So the fewer moving parts and pieces, the better. I outsource very, very little, and it just works out really well for me in the end. Now, I've been down this road before of wearing all these hats as a business owner, and after having done it, I tell people, most people don't realize what they really want. They narrow it down based on experiencing things that they don't want. We experienced that with our first home. And then we bought our second home, and then we bought our third home, and now we're going to be buying our fourth home. And each one, we thought, oh, this is what we wanted, only to realize, no, it's not exactly what we wanted. And realizing what we don't want helps us push us closer to what we do want. And this occurs in business as well, whether it is you as an employee and who you want to work for, the job you want to do, or as a business owner, and so on and so forth. It says here that as of late, she now is demanding not just a piece, but half of the company due to her early contributions and coming up with the idea or starting the business. From my point of view, there really isn't any value in the company, as we just started a few months ago. The company obviously isn't profitable in this short span of time, and I myself haven't made a dime. She sees ownership as a way to protect herself. How? I'm not really sure. Well, if your girlfriend is trying to protect herself, then she probably shouldn't be your girlfriend, because I don't see this relationship going and growing beyond where it's at now, which is not necessarily a good position to be in. Although a lot of people say don't do business with family, don't do business with friends, and definitely don't do business with a girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, husband, wife, whatever it may be. Michelle, Squirrel Tribe, and I are the exception, but for the most part, I would agree with that. Unless you know that your other half is just like with you through and through, thick and thin, then, you know, no one's ever going to deliver 50-50. So as soon as someone goes to 51-49, there's a problem, which I think, fortunately for us, we're not 50-50. Squirrel Tribe runs her channel, I run my channels, and we help each other from time to time, but it's never like I'm doing more than half of the work. We're separate, but we work together, if that makes sense. However, concept is a little bit of a struggle, but it is always number one to have contracts in place. Contracts. even if it's with a spouse or a girlfriend or somebody you're dating or whoever it is, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You have to have a contract. And I would have to look at this and say, well, who formed the company? You know, whose name is on this company? And depending on that and the, you know, articles of incorporation and how you were structured and set up with the state, that clearly states who owns the business. So if it is not a partnership and or a multi-member corporation with percentage of ownership and or shares, I mean, it's pretty clear who owns what. Now, this is ultimately going to be the end of this relationship, in my opinion, whether that relationship is with the business or with the girlfriend or both. But then we look at the fact that it says they're only a few months in and they're not profitable. There's no way I would want to start a business in 2022 or 2023 and not be profitable, immediately profitable. No way, not possible. Now, granted, there are some people out there who are looking to get into businesses and operate off of debt and ultimately have a 5 to 10 year plan of, you know, growing the business, building up its net worth and ultimately its value, and then possibly selling it for the big win. But the way that the economy is going right now, I wouldn't want to take that gamble. I would much rather put my money to better use and my time to much better use by initiating in something that is automatically going to bring me back returns. And if not, the profitability is net zero versus a loss because my only investment is time, which is why I push so heavily and so strong for folks to get out there and start creating content, because your investment is time. Now, with that being said, if the company's not worth anything, well, guess what? You can have it, take it. I'll just go start another one. You know, I'll start another one and formulate it and create it properly so that there is no confusion and no discrepancy on who owns what or who did or who's, you know, entitled to whatever portion of protection they want. Odds are, like, why am I even concerned about protecting myself in a company and wanting 50% ownership of a business that's not profitable? like what is the logic here? I honestly started this more so as a low pressure side business and a way to spend time and have fun with her. I love the idea. Spending time together is huge, which is why I push so hard to have a higher quality of life and being able to take control of your financial freedom and your income sources so that you can have time to spend with friends, family, loved ones, instead of always working all the time. But if you can marry the two together, it's just like a win-win, you know? I also didn't expect for this question to spring up so early in the business, which you didn't expect it, which means to me that you're telling me that you're relatively new and naive to business and people and feelings and emotions and just changes that could happen overnight that you just didn't expect. Folks, this is why we need to prepare for things that we don't know that we're preparing for. Be prepared for anything and everything. But the beauty of it is it did spring up early. The worst part about this would be it springs up 5 years from now when this company's worth a few $100,000, and then you got a big problem. In the beginning, she agreed to just help out and didn't want nor care for ownership. People change, their opinions change, especially, like I said, folks, when the money is introduced, the idea of money, the thought of profit, and, you know, that's the other thing. People see sales and revenue and they automatically think it's profit and net income and money that they've earned and made. No, you still have your expenses and you still have taxes and you still have a slew of other things that are involved with running a profitable business and a successful business. And you can't just say, oh, I just did $1 million in sales. Wow, I'm a millionaire. Okay, well, you did $1 million in sales, but you also have $999,000 of expenses. So you really only made $1,000. So keep on moving, you know, don't get distracted by the big numbers. And it says the company just started and is a little far off from turning a profit. Hopefully that profit is coming soon in the future. I would be working on ways to make sure that profit happens sooner than later, especially with the direction that the economy is going, inflation, the recession, the Fed, higher interest rates, job layoffs, etc. There's no way I want to run a side hustle business that's not making money. Plain and simple. My side hustle should immediately automatically produce income. Number one, even if it's just $1, my side hustle should not cost me money, plain and simple. And it says that it's a two-man business at the very least. So with that in mind, she's using that as leverage on leaving me high and dry. Just find someone else, hire an employee. Guess what? An employee is not going to cost you 50%. An employee could cost you a few dollars an hour, depending, or a flat fee for the gig. Much more profitable way of doing business, in my opinion. But given all this information, I was just wondering what would be the ideal solution. To girlfriend and I started a business together. She now wants 50% ownership, though I finance the company and do a lot of the heavy lifting. How should I counter? Your counter should be, it was nice knowing you so long. Don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord splits you. That's it. It's over. It's done. You know, you and her, your relationship, the business, it's a wash. It's a wrap. You got to move on and not give up. Just know that moving on and moving forward from this point, you need to be smarter about the decisions that you're making, which is good because you're making decisions to try to improve your financial situation and position and becoming a business owner. But there is a huge information and knowledge gap here, in my opinion, of how to actually run a business. And it comes down to just the basic formulation, the foundation, the creation, the contract, and producing a profit. There should be a realistic business plan and business model goal that has you knowing when that profit is going to occur. And if you don't have that, then you really just have a hobby or an expensive habit, because it's just costing you money. You said here in the title, you finance the company. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Now, granted, there are some instances where actually I've come across some where, you know, perhaps maybe you need to buy something to get the business started. Little dicey there, but if you have a fixed cost, then that's a plus, because then, you know, if my fixed cost to enter into this business is $1,000 and I can produce $100, you know, a week. So that means within 10 weeks, I'm going to recoup my investment. And then every week moving forward after that, I'm profitable. But in this particular situation, I don't really see that as being the case, because there should have been a fixed cost of the entry as far as the equipment and the supplies and ingredients needed to get this business started. And then with everything else falling on the weight and the shoulders of this boyfriend, being the prepping and the rent, the spaces and the driving and the designing and the inventory and the accounting and the packaging, all that's being done. So there's no cost there. So ultimately, in my opinion, this is a failing business. It probably will never become profitable. And unfortunately, he's not quite there yet to recognize and realize that, which will probably present itself in the near future, but even further pushes for the basic idea that just end the business, end the relationship, cut ties, draw a line in the sand, move on, start over. Next time, you know what not to do it better. You know what you don't want as you move towards what you do want. You don't want a non-profitable business with a girlfriend with no contract who's asking for 50% ownership that you don't want to give her. You do want a profitable business that runs on the side with very little financial investments needed, with a solid contract and corporate structure. There's no question of who owns what, how much money it's going to cost to operate it, and how quickly you're going to see a return on your investment and start making some real money, some profit, some net income. Folks, what do you think? Comment down below. Let me know. I may do this again in the future. If you guys want, just let me know. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.